why is it important to study history and not just the history? You know, these gatekeepers want to feed you, from their gatekeeping, little walled off perspective, because everything is, about like a maze. You know how mazes have walls within walls. So we want to break down the walls of their gatekeeping and penetrate into the labyrinth of the truth. Um, it's important to really dig deep, gold mine, because in order to understand the future, to understand the present, you have to understand the past. So it's not pointless to research history and to know, and look at all the deception and name changes, the all the masquerading. Like they like to wear the Venetian masks. That's how they are. They masquerade as another something they are not. That is how the temple of Satan operates. The synagogue operates. So
I traded my Butterfree to some guy I don't even know just because he seemed to like trading so much. I really don't even know if he'll take care of it the way I
how
do.
one of the ways I use to find the truth is to theorize and to guess and to guesstimate, and just kind of think, critically think upon things instead of just being blindly led in one direction. I try to critically think upon everything that I watch and read. It's hard to kind of critically think if you're always drinking fluoridated water all the time, guzzling. You know how these water guzzlers are. They aren't the brightest people ever. If you're always drinking a ton of water, you're basically flooding your body with fluoride. So that's why a lot of these water guzzlers aren't so smart. I mean, they're very boxed in the walls that these people want them to be walled off in. So it's important not to gloss over ancient civilizations. It's important to understand why they collapsed, why other civilizations hated other civilizations. Why were they enemies? And it's also important to understand the migration patterns and stuff like that. So, I consider myself kind of like an archivist, one who really, is a seeker of knowledge, not someone who's trying to gatekeep knowledge or wall off knowledge. Just like the Telsa coil, the Telsa energy, I believe knowledge should be free. Says energy should be free. The sun is a free source of energy. Just as I think knowledge should not be walled off within labyrinths and mazes to have to try to, solve a puzzle. But that's how knowledge is. It's like a maze.
Oh, yeah. Butterfree.
We already had, with Telsa, he already figured out free and limited energy, and it's been around for a while. They just don't want to make energy free. It's a monopoly. They have a monopoly upon energy, just as they have a monopoly upon the currency, monopoly upon money lending, and also they think they have a monopoly upon knowledge. Everything with them is about monopolizing information. Because information is energy, so it's about monopolizing information, monopolizing energy, monopolizing, the dissemination of information and the dissemination of energy.
I think we should all be very proud of our Pokemon. And we taught Team Rocket a lesson they'll never forget.
I can't wait to get off this lousy bucket.
Wait! There goes my salary advance!
There goes my money too.
Faith is good and all. I like to have the facts straight on things. I like to really know as much as possible, details as much as possible.
Butterfree was the first Pokemon I ever captured. I worked very hard training and raising it. Please, can I have it back?
You leave me no choice.
I'm sorry.
Now calm down. These high seas have just pushed us a little off course. There's nothing to worry about. We're heading for port now, and besides, the ship is unsinkable. There's absolutely no need for alarm.
So yeah, I don't think anyone should be glossing over
Now there's no reason to
civilizations like the Phoenicians
the lifeboats.
and the Romans, when those are literally like the two most important civilizations of ancient times. Or the Celts, for that matter, because the Celts had a lot of interaction with the Egyptians and the Phoenicians, and there's a lot of hidden history and hidden knowledge that the Celts possess. So the Celts also need to be studied and researched and not be glossed over. So I'll just say the Romans, the Celts, the Phoenicians, and Greeks are all really important ancient civilizations to really learn about on a deep spiritual level. My memory is a little foggy when it comes to the history, right after, collapse of the Roman Empire, History seems to be kind of foggy at that point. I guess you have the establishment of the Catholic Church, you have the separation of the Roman Empire into the Holy Roman Empire and then the Byzantine Empire. I guess you have the Huns, who come over from the east. You get the Vikings rising as a force. You have the Ottoman Turks, the Caliphate, the Arabs taking over everything. And then you have the Moors. The Moors are the Canaanites, the darker skinned Canaanites that remained in North Africa, that fetched slaves for the Spanish. I guess that was after I don't know. They operated in that area for a long time in the Sahara Desert. They had castles like in the Sahara Desert area. They were like Moorish kings and stuff. And you have constant persecution of Christians, burning of Christians, the killing of these Gnostics. You have the killing of the Spanish Inquisition. The Crusades. That's after that's the second part of the 2,000 years. So this is like 2,000 years of history, just trying to piece together like like put it together like dominoes. But right now I'm just trying to study the ancient history before BC, because a lot of the answers lie before Christ. You had the destruction of the Library of Alexandria, which held a lot of key knowledge, secrets that they didn't want, people to know, so they destroyed it on purpose. The collapse of pretty much civilization, the Romans, the Greeks. Then you had all these scientists, this scientific movement, which is really ingrained within Freemasonry and the occult and Rosicrucianism. And it came along during the age of the Renaissance, when some guy said the Earth is actually a globe, when he actually lied, it's not a globe. And then you had Freemason Sir Isaac Newton saying there's gravity when there really is no gravity. He just made it up. Like saying, all these scientists were deeply ingrained within the occult, Rosicrucianism, and Freemasonry. I'm just trying to remember as much as possible without having to look it up. Then you had all these German philosophers from like the 1700s to the through the 1800s, like Immanuel Kant, Hegel, Schopenhauer, Nietzsche, and a lot of them were involved in the occult and Freemasonry, especially I think Hegel, because Hegel had the idea of the Hegelian dialectic, which is a thesis, problem, reaction, solution, which is what the world order, goes by. They try to make order out of chaos. So, a lot of these philosophers were very detached from Christianity, They were very speculative. They just, which is not bad sometimes to just think for thinking itself. Learn how to just think pure thought instead of having any, you know, frame of reference. Just trying to use your logic. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to philosophy and logic as long as its ends are, are morally good, are not being used for nefarious purposes. Like how, Hegel's thought process was used by, what's his name, Marx. Hegel's thought process was used by Marx to come up with Marxism, which was used for communism, which the Freemasons used to basically genocide tons of Russian Slavic peoples and enslave them. So yeah, you can see how philosophy can be ingrained within fascist circles and also communist circles, which are really two sides of the same coin. And they can be used for nefarious purposes when you start getting away from God's, commandments and the laws in the Bible. You start getting into the occult and philosophy, which you get into a secular thought process, which can lead to a more reprobate mind, a more prideful and intellectualism. You start getting stuff like the Kabbalah and you start getting men who dabble in witchcraft and the occult, who are also ingrained within the sciences and academia. Who are perpetuating, the collapse of Western civilization. In terms of philosophy, the Germans and the Greeks are really the kings of philosophical thinking. But a lot of the Freemasonry is intertwined with secular thought and philosophy. It's kind of like peanut butter and jelly, so this secular thought process can feed this satanic system, which can lead to nefarious ends. Like the philosophy of utilitarianism, where they think the ends justify the mean. The means justify the ends. So they think, genociding, X number of people, the means justify the ends. That's utilitarianism, and I feel that's the process by how a lot of our world leaders think, where they think in these utilitarian terms, where they don't see us as people, but they see us as statistics and numbers, quantifying us, So that is utilitarianism. You know, our government is very secular, very ingrained within this secular thought process, this Hegelian thought process, dialectical thought process, which is really just ingrained within black magic, you know, which is chaos magic, creating chaos to create, you know, new orders or new, you know, just collapsing things on purpose, like collapsing the economy or causing the Great Depression or crashing the stock market. That's creating order out of chaos, how the banks operate,